Alex needs this chance more than you do. My father's words landed like a punch as I stood in his Denver office, clutching the quarterly revenue report I'd been so eager to share. She's still trying to figure out her path, he continued, and the brewery is perfect for her. My name is Lena Torres, 34 years old. 8 months ago, I sold my dream loft in Lodo to save Torres Brewing Co., our family's failing craft beer business. Once a neighborhood staple, it had been bleeding money for years. Outdated branding, dusty interiors, and zero online presence. My sister Alex? Fresh off her third failed career experiment, she hadn't lifted a finger for the brewery. Until now. Now that I'd pulled it back from the edge. Dad, I said slowly, forcing my voice to stay steady, I sold my home for this. I put everything I had into saving Torres Brewing. He didn't even look up from his phone. And we appreciate that. But Alex needs this more. You've got your corporate finance background to fall back on. A bitter laugh almost escaped. I'd walked away from a 6-figure position at a private equity firm, emptied my savings, and poured my soul into reviving what Grandpa built. Meanwhile, Alex spent the last 6 months finding herself in Costa Rica. This brewery wasn't just a business. It was our legacy. I grew up on those bar stools, listening to Grandpa hum old ranchera tunes as he brewed the recipes that made Torres Brewing famous in the 90s. When Dad called me in January, voice cracking about bankruptcy, I didn't hesitate. If we lose the brewery, he'd said, we lose everything your grandfather worked for. So I acted. I sold my loft, cleared their debts, rebranded the company while honoring Grandpa's traditions. I introduced seasonal brews, brought in food trucks on weekends, and launched a killer Instagram campaign that drew influencers and local beer blogs. And it worked. Revenue tripled, we had waiting lists for brewery tours, our new taproom was packed every weekend, even old-timers loved the changes, especially the wall of vintage photos I curated in Grandpa's honor. But none of that mattered now. Alex already has ideas, Dad added casually. She wants to scrap the current lineup, maybe add some plant-based blends she learned about abroad. My stomach twisted. The very lineup that put Torres Brewing back on the map, the legacy Grandpa crafted with his own hands. And now it could all be gone, just because my sister needs this more. Well, times change, Dad shrugged. Alex has fresh ideas. She's young. She understands modern trends. I wanted to scream. I had spent months researching trends, blending tradition with innovation without alienating our loyal customers. Instead, I slid the profit reports onto his desk. And what about my investment? I asked quietly. The money I put in? We'll pay you back eventually, he said, already glancing back at his phone. Alex needs a clean slate to make this her own. Just then, Alex breezed in, glowing from yoga, her athleisure outfit probably worth more than our best sales day last year. Oh good, you told her, she chirped, not even looking at me. Dad, I've been thinking, she continued. We should turn the barrel room into a kombucha lounge. That old rustic vibe is so dated. The barrel room, where Grandpa used to brew his first batches, where I'd learned to siphon wort and measure hops, where we held his memorial after the last keg he ever brewed. Actually, I said, keeping my voice calm even as my hands trembled, there's something you both should know. They turned, mild irritation on their faces, as if I was interrupting Alex's genius brainstorm. When I invested in Torres Brewing, I continued, I didn't just hand over money. I had my attorney draft paperwork. Dad frowned. What are you talking about? I'm talking about legal documents that make me the majority shareholder, I said, sliding copies across the desk. I own 51% of Torres Brewing. Alex's mouth fell open. You can't do that. This is a family business. Exactly, I replied, standing slowly. And I protected our family's legacy the way Grandpa would have wanted. I gathered my things and headed for the door. I'll be in my office, you know, the one with the business licenses, vendor contracts, and liquor permits, all in my name. Behind me, Alex's shrill voice rose. Daddy, do something! But there was nothing he could do. I'd learned after years of being overlooked that the only way to protect myself And what mattered was to be smart, prepared, and document everything. In my office, I sank into my chair, surrounded by proof of my work, redesigned branding mock-ups, glowing Yelp reviews, influencer shoutouts. My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. "We need to talk. Family doesn't treat family this way." I smiled, staring at Grandpa's photo on the wall. "No, Dad. We really need to talk about how family treats family." He'd brewed alongside my grandfather for 20 years, one of the few people who truly understood what Torres brewing meant to me. "Family trouble?" Miguel asked in Spanish, glancing at my tired eyes as he stacked kegs in the cold room. Before I could answer, Alex stormed through the taproom doors in another designer athleisure set, phone in hand. Dad trailed behind her, looking tense. "This is ridiculous, Lena," she announced loudly, waving her screen like a trophy. "I've already scheduled meetings with interior designers. We're doing a full rebrand." Miguel gave me a knowing look before slipping quietly into the walk-in cooler. He'd seen this before, Alex's dramatic entrances, bold declarations, and the chaos that followed. "Cancel them," I said flatly, checking the delivery invoices. "Any changes to Torres Brewing require my approval as majority shareholder." Dad stepped forward, voice thick with condescension. "About that, I spoke with our family lawyer last night. He says those documents might not even be enforceable, since this is a family business." I raised an eyebrow and pulled up a saved email on my phone. "You mean Uncle Mike, the guy who hasn't practiced corporate law in 15 years, the same one who forgot to file the brewery's taxes 3 times? Turning the screen toward them, I revealed the header, "Torres Brewing Ownership Structure Confirmed," from one of Denver's top business law firms. "My attorney disagrees," I said calmly. Alex's cheeks flushed crimson. "You went behind our backs? To an outsider?" "No," I corrected. "I protected my investment legally and professionally, something you'd understand if you'd finished any of your business classes." That struck deep. Alex had dropped out after 1 semester, claiming school stifled her creativity. Our parents applauded her for exploring her passions, just as they did when her yoga studio failed, her food blog fizzled, and her lifestyle coaching venture lasted barely 3 months. "Mom always said you were jealous," Alex spat, tears brimming. "Just because I'm not uptight like you." "Enough," Dad barked. "Alex is trying to find her purpose. This could be it. Why can't you support her?" I scanned the spotless tap room, the upgraded brewing system I paid for, the redesigned menus, the influencer campaigns that packed our tables every weekend. "Like you supported me?" My voice was ice. "When I worked double shifts here in college while Alex partied? When I learned Grandpa's recipes while she was on shopping sprees? When I sold my home to save this place while she was posting sunsets from Costa Rica?" Dad looked away. "That's different." "No," I said softly, "it's exactly the same. If you're as hooked on this brewing family feud as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because the next part? Let's just say Lena's not done yet, and things are about to explode." "Alex needs to grow up," I cut in, surprising even myself with the edge in my voice. "And you need to understand this isn't just about family anymore. This is business." Just then, Miguel emerged from the walk-in cooler, carrying a fresh sack of specialty hops for our bestseller IPA. He paused, his eyes flicking to Alex. "You know how to dry hop this?" he asked in accented English, his tone calm but sharp. Alex blinked. "Well, no, but you know vendor contracts, health codes, staff schedules?" Miguel pressed, his deep voice echoing in the chilled air. Each question chipped away at her confidence. She fumbled for words. "I can learn," she insisted. "I have fresh ideas." Miguel shook his head slowly. "Ideas not enough," he said firmly. "Need knowledge, need respect." He glanced at me then, his gaze steady. "Like Lena, like her grandfather." I did it. Alex's face crumpled. She spun on her heel and bolted out of the brewery, nearly knocking over a line cook carrying trays of glassware. Dad shot me a look, half anger, half disappointment, before following her out. The taproom fell silent except for the rhythmic hiss of brewing equipment. Miguel went back to work as if nothing happened. measuring hops with practiced precision. "Thank you," I murmured in Spanish. He gave a small nod. "Your abuelo always said, good beer needs solid foundation." Same with business, same with life. I looked around at the space I'd fought to save. The gleaming fermenters, the organized prep stations, the crew working like a well-oiled machine. This wasn't just about my investment anymore. It was about protecting my grandfather's legacy, about safeguarding the livelihoods of people like Miguel, who'd stood by us for decades, and yes, even protecting Alex from her own recklessness. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Family meeting tonight. Alex is very upset. Please be reasonable." I thought about every family meeting we'd had over the years. How they always ended with me compromising and Alex getting her way. Not this time. This time, I had more than just loyalty on my side. I had legal documents, profit margins, and, for the first time, the confidence to stand my ground. I typed back, "Yes, we need to talk. I'll bring financials, ownership papers, and my attorney's info." I looked up at Grandpa's photo, framed above the bar. His eyes seemed to say what I already knew. This wasn't just about beer. It was about respect, for the craft, for the work, for the truth. The family meeting was set in the barrel room. The same arguments surfaced when Alex wanted to turn the barrel room into a kombucha lounge. Mom had arranged chairs around Grandpa's favorite oak tasting table, now crowned with his framed photo and an empty pint glass. I walked in carrying a portfolio and my laptop, prepared for a fight. Alex lounged in her sleek designer outfit, scrolling on her phone while our parents exchanged worried looks. "Before we start," I said, opening my laptop, "I'd like to show you something." The screen lit up with a video montage, customers sharing their favorite brewery memories, staff members talking about what their jobs meant to them, and vintage clips of Grandpa brewing with a proud grin. The final shot? Last Saturday night, a packed tap room, live music, and smiling faces lifting pints. "This," I said quietly, "is what I've protected. Not just my investment, our family's legacy." Mom dabbed at her eyes. "Lena, we understand you've worked hard, but Alex needs—" "No," I cut in firmly. "What Alex needs is to hear the truth. All of you do." I slid printed reports across the table. 8 months ago, Torres Brewing was $220,000 0 cents in debt. The health department had cited us twice. We were weeks from closing. Dad shifted in his seat. "I sold my Lodo loft for $480,000 0 cents, I continued. "Used $220,000 0 cents to clear debts. $170,000 0 cents on renovations and new equipment, and invested the rest in marketing and staff training." Alex rolled her eyes. "We know you spent money, but Dad says—" "Your father," I cut in again, "signed these." I pushed forward a set of contracts bearing Dad's signature. Hemet was desperate for help and didn't read the fine print. "These documents make me the majority shareholder. 51%. Dad's face flushed crimson. "Now wait a minute." "No," I said calmly, "you wait. For years you favored Alex, excused her failures, and expected me to stay quiet, but this isn't about family anymore. This is business." I pulled up the current financials. We're turning a $35,000 0 cents monthly profit. Staff retention is 95%. We've secured partnerships with local suppliers, booked 6 corporate accounts, and have a 2-week waiting list for tours. I switched slides, projections based on Alex's proposed changes. Here's what happens if she rebrands. Costs skyrocket, regular customers vanish, profits tank. Within 6 months, back in debt. Alex slammed her phone down, tears brimming. "You're just trying to make me look bad. I have vision." "Vision without experience is just fantasy," I said evenly. "Do you realize our head brewer has 2 kids in college? That Miguel supports his aging parents? That our servers depend on their paychecks?" For the first time, Alex faltered. Her defiance softened into something almost uncertain. I leaned forward, voice calm but firm. "If you're serious about learning this business, really learning it, I'm willing to teach you. The room went still. You'll start as a hostess, I continued. Then rotate through every role. You'll learn how each piece of this brewery works before you touch the menu or the branding. In time, if you prove commitment, you can earn a real position. A hostess? Alex whispered, horrified. But I'm family. Exactly, I said, and family should lead by example. Dad opened his mouth to object, but Mom spoke first, her voice steady. She's right. All eyes turned to her. I've watched Lena work here since she was 16, Mom continued. She honored your father's legacy when we didn't. We haven't been fair to her. Alex slumped back, her voice small. So I just give up my dreams? No, I said, shutting my laptop. You work for them, like everyone else. The choice is yours. Learn the business properly or move on. But Torres Brewing stays as it is. The silence stretched long before Dad finally spoke, his tone softer than I'd heard in years. You're a lot like your grandfather, he murmured. He'd be proud. For the first time in forever, I saw respect in his eyes. 2 months later, against everyone's expectations, Alex actually took the hostess job. She griped at first, but something changed after her first slammed Saturday night. Maybe it was watching regulars greet me like family, or seeing how every tap, pull, and keg change mattered, or realizing that running a brewery was more than glossy rebrands and hashtags. She's still learning, still makes mistakes, but she's trying. Last week I even caught her asking Miguel to teach her how to dry hop an IPA. As for me, I've never felt more certain of my path. Torres Brewing isn't just a business, it's proof that success grows from strong roots. Planning, grit, and the courage to stand firm when it matters most. Yesterday, I hung a new photo beside Grandpa's, me in brewer's gear, smiling over a fresh batch. Beneath it, I framed his favorite words. Great beer, like great families, is built on strong foundations, and I intend to keep those foundations solid. If you've stayed with me through this journey, I want to hear from you. Do you think I did the right thing? Would you have stood your ground the way I did, or stepped back for the sake of family peace? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one because your perspective matters to me. I've learned something powerful. Family loyalty is important. But loyalty to yourself, the dreams you've sacrificed for, the work you've poured your heart into, is equally vital. For years I stayed silent. I worked hard, hoping my efforts would speak for themselves. But silence rarely earns respect. Speaking up did. Planning ahead did. Protecting what mattered most did. Here's my advice to you. Never underestimate the value of preparation. If you're investing time, money, or love into something, document it. Protect it. Own it. That's not selfish. That's smart. And if someone ever tells you that standing up for yourself makes you cold or ungrateful, remember this. Confidence is not cruelty. Boundaries are not betrayal. So what's your story? Have you ever had to fight for something you built, even against people you love? Share it with me. I want this to be more than just a story. I want it to start a conversation. And if you want to see what happens next, because trust me, the drama isn't over, hit that subscribe button. Join me for the next chapter, where I'll show you what it really takes to turn family pressure into unstoppable success. Because if my grandfather taught me one thing, it's this. Strong foundations don't just hold up breweries, they hold up lives. Let's build those foundations together. Now, tell me, what's the strongest foundation you've ever built in your life? Drop it in the comments. I'm listening.